Hey there, in this video I've put together a little diorama that's more like an ornamental piece for Halloween, and it's really basic. It's the kind of thing you could do with children or if you're a beginner, and it's just a nice little kind of Halloween project to make. So I hope you get something out of this, and I do hope you enjoy the video. I have my pieces all cut out ready to go, a bit of foam core board for the archway, some XPS foam columns and little squares to go on top, and just some cocktail skewers for the rails on the cemetery gates. I'm going to draw in just some what looks like broken away mortar with bricks exposed underneath, so it saves me the agony of drawing in brickwork around each entire column. Plus it's different, it's nice, but it's mostly quick and easy. Nice sharp pencil just so I can etch the lines in. Pop my little pieces on top with a bit of wood glue. And there they are, that quick, pretty good. Now I'm just going to mark in some brickwork into the archway as well. Another quick easy detail, that's great. All ready to go. Once the glue is thoroughly dry, I'm just going to give them all a coat of just some heavy black acrylic paint. It's just a cheap acrylic paint. It's one of those cheap ones that is quite loaded with plastics, so it also acts as a sealant. Nice coat of grey. It's a dark grey, but it looks lighter on camera, and of course on top of the black. On the archway. And then a nice dry brush just to pinpoint all the sharp edges, and it just adds that extra dimension of light and colour. You can see the difference. It's quite a big difference. Now just some red ochre to do the bricks. It's just basic earthy kind of brick colours. You can choose whichever ones you like. Just the little details that were exposed. I did put a little bit of brown and terracotta on some of the bricks, so just made it a little bit more interesting. And now a dirty sort of wash. It's just some watered down black and brown acrylic paint, just to look like grime and shadows and that kind of thing. I want this to look cartoonish, but not to the point where it's one-dimensional in a fashion. A little touch of realism's good. The gates, I'm just going to lay down a sheet of plastic. I've used the archway to mark out the size. And the piece of plastic is there to stop my wood glue from sticking to any surface that I'm using to glue my wood together. They're just pieces of coffee stirrers sliced up so they're much thinner. I cut each one to length because I'm just going by my very crude drawing. There is no measuring involved here. One piece at a time, marked, cut, and put down to fit. Once it's dry, I just put down my skewers. I cut them to size as well, or to length. Each one was slightly shorter than the next, so they would just go down at an angle. And to do the outer parts of the gate, I drew around my columns so I knew how wide they would be, and then I made the gap in between, which would be the size of each of the panels that runs in between the columns. Again, no measuring, but this is how I managed to make things work, by just making a template and following that guide. I placed my piece of plastic back down because my gate wasn't dry enough to pick it up. But I just plonk it down and start gluing the pieces down one at a time after measuring them so carefully as I do. Once they're all cut, ready to go, I just get my little skewers and glue them down the same way I did the gate. And that's them all dry and now ready for a coat of black matte. And now they're completely ready to fancy up. A bit of blackened lace that I used with fabric stiffener just to make it look like a bit of cast iron lacework. Really quick, easy way of doing it. It's a beautiful bit of added detail. I recently did a short on the cast iron lacework if you would like to check that out to see how I made it. A little piece for the top. This is really basic lace, but it's all I had at hand, but it works. And now it's time to attach the pieces of foam get the gate all ready to put on top of my diorama base. The angle on those side pieces is unusual. I did make them a bit wider than they should be so I could actually insert them into the columns as well. I thought I would mention that. And I've got some toothpicks that were cut in half and inserted into the base of each column. I've got some polymer clay skulls on toothpicks. Just dip them in for a painting. It gets into the little recesses, the eyes and the teeth and that sort of thing. And when they're dry, it really gives a nice tone to it. It's kind of like a bone colour. There they are, sitting on top of each post. A little bit of wire that I bent to stick in the top for added detail as well. And now it's time to put on a bit of flocking for some faux moss. This adds a nice bit of texture and colour as well, which is good. All these little details that are really easy to make are fantastic. A little polymer clay sign just to pop on the front. Again with wood glue so I don't dissolve my foam. Some little tombstones that I also made a short for that you can check out. They're a nice bit of detail too, they really are. And I'm just going to put down some static grass on top of my base. The base is just a bit of sand, a bit of flocking and some static grass. Just tip it all off, save it for another project. It's a bit rough, but it's meant to be rough, so that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Now it's time to crown our pageant queen. I put a bit of wood glue under this as well, so I had to make sure it wouldn't come off. Some beautiful little flowers. I will leave a link for those. They're just a really nice little detail. I just make a hole into my foam and I insert them and then just fan them out a little bit. They're quite realistic. They've taken that cartoonish look away, but I don't mind. Put some tufts of dead grass around. Really gives it that dilapidated graveyard look, doesn't it? I like it. I put a fair few of these around. They really soften the edges and they're also covering up where it didn't really get covered where I glued down the gates. Little pumpkins I made out of polymer clay. They add a nice detail and a nice bit of colour. I did use a terracotta and not orange. More little skulls just so I can jam them in the ground. Really basic detail. I like it though. It's definitely got that Halloween feeling. And a little sign I made out of a skewer and, well, a toothpick and a bit of balsa wood. And that's the project all done. I think it came out quite nice. It's got a lot of detail that was extremely basic. And this is the sort of thing you could do with children or, you know, if you're a beginner. It's a lot less complicated than it looks. And as you can see in the video, I mean, it really is basic stuff. So, yeah, it'd be a bit of fun for Halloween decorations or a diorama or whatever you'd like to do. But, yeah, have a go. It's a nice little thing to make. And it looks lovely as well. And it's terrific under different kinds of lighting. And, yeah, it was a bit of fun. Well, I hope you found this a useful tutorial. And I do hope to see you next time.